Welcome to the boot. We're breaking down today's 2022 World Cup final between Argentina and France. Great game, couldn't ask for more, and there's a lot to break down, so let's jump into it here. All right, and we're at Lusail Stadium, which is about 90,000 fans. Argentina had already played there once, and I don't believe France had. So in terms of lineups, like we normally go over, the 4-4-2 for Argentina, Messi up top next to Alvarez, who's also had a great tournament. Of course, Messi's on 5 goals and 3 assists. He's tied with Mbappe for the Golden Boot going into this match. For France, you got the 4-3-3, and Mbappe, as usual, is on the front line on the left side, so he can cut in to the right with his right foot, as he loves to do. So not a lot of changes in either lineup. One of the big ones that turned out to go really well for Argentina was Lionel Scaloni picking Di Maria to start up top along with Messi. Di Maria had not played the last 3 matches and is a little bit more offensive oriented, of course. So it's a little bit of a gamble there, and it actually paid off. So we will jump into the starting action, which is for Argentina. Argentina took it to France in the first half. I think everyone can agree Argentina won most of the second balls. They hustled more, and they purposely were more aggressive. Not to say that France was lazy or anything, because France has kind of used this tactic throughout the tournament. They've often looked a little bit tentative in the first half, but that's partly because they can pounce so well with the counterattack. And they have done really well in the second half with several of their matches. So I think they kind of wanted to let Argentina, frankly, have the ball a little bit here, see if they could maybe score a goal in the first half on a counterattack. But in terms of just aggressiveness, though, Argentina was outstanding. And this is what you want to see. They left everything on the field, and they did a wonderful job of double teaming France when they had the ball, especially Mbappe, and really going for incisive steals instead of just always playing on the back foot. So on this play for Argentina, this is an example of how Argentina really dominated the midfield, especially in the first half. Instead of making a safe back pass or even a lateral pass, in this particular instance to start this sequence, Argentina's midfielder immediately turned and looked for Messi. And so here, let's zoom in a little bit. Messi already sees that he's got a teammate open, so he's going to dish it to that teammate right away, first time. And frankly, it's one of the few missed touches of the match and even the tournament for Messi. Messi actually got this up in the air a little bit higher than he wanted. He really wanted just to, of course, roll it on the ground. But his teammate does a wonderful job here. I think it's McAllister, of getting his foot up and one-timing it across the field. You rarely see this quick of a reaction, but then also to make such a nice diagonal pass. McAllister sees that France is a little bit off balance here. And he also, in the back of his vision, had seen Di Maria was already making a run. Di Maria's right underneath me near the top of the screen. Frankly, Di Maria could have been higher up, but I think for the entire first half and for the game, I think Di Maria in particular did a wonderful job of staying on sides. Many of you remember that the upset of the tournament probably was Saudi Arabia beating Argentina in their first match, and Argentina was offside like 6 times, which should never happen. They were a little bit nervous, I'm sure, but still. I think in this case, Di Maria knows he doesn't need to always be right on the offside line here. He's got more than enough space to play with if his teammate can get him the ball. So already you've seen a great sequence here. One pass to Messi, Messi one times to his teammate, McAllister one times it to Di Maria. But I've got a couple interesting questions, and it is sometimes okay to poke a little bit of fun with France's goalkeeper, Lloris, who has been known in really big games to have some questionable mental mistakes. So I'm going to highlight on the next slide where is France's goalkeeper? Because you can see how far away Di Maria is from the ball here. Now, the other thing is France's last defender here, once he sees the ball being passed over to nothing but space, he could have very easily gone over there and closed down Di Maria and been between Di Maria and the goal. Di Maria ends up scoring on this, but I'm sorry, actually basically drawing a penalty. But let's just see how this unfolds. But I don't blame France's last defender here anyway, because your primary responsibility is always going to be center of goal and the center of the 18-yard box. So let's zoom in a little bit here on Di Maria's run, and nothing but space there. Now, my next image here is Di Maria. I wanted to show you all the way down to the end line. Di Maria does a great job of using all that space. As many of you know, if you get close to the end line, you're really, no other teammates are going to be offsides because you're already at the end line. And he baits Dembele into defending him too closely here. Now, admittedly, Dembele is a forward, and Dembele is doing a good job at least trying to play defense here and coming back, unlike Mbappe, who doesn't like to play too much defense. But Dembele, just even this photo here, the image shows how nonchalant he goes into this. Instead of having his back square to us as he should and being goal bound, he kind of comes into this turned, and I know that he's expecting Di Maria to cross this ball. So I get that, but he doesn't look in an athletic position here. And basically Di Maria is going to wow the crowd. You could hear the crowd gasp when he does this turn. He sets it up here and then just hooks the ball like that and literally turns Dembele around. And that's the part where you really shouldn't get turned around on just one move like that. So look at the amount of space that Di Maria has already gotten on Dembele. Dembele's way faster than Di Maria, by the way. So it just goes to show that football is all about quickness and skill. It doesn't hurt to have the pace of Mbappe, but Di Maria is not fast at all. But he has lured in Dembele, and now he's about to reach the 18-yard box. His head is up as it should be, and he sees players in the box. But what does he see? I'll show you in a second here. Besides his teammates in the box, he sees nothing but French defenders. So you got Giroud there, you got another defender there, and Dembele, who's chasing Di Maria now, has to see that. He has to see nothing but dark shirts in front of him. And again, most games, big games, are won mentally, not physically, in my opinion. And it comes down to who makes the best mental choices and also who makes the worst. And this is just a terrible mistake by Dembele. Great player with a great attitude, by the way. But I froze it right here in the second he makes contact, so there's no question about it. This didn't even go to video replay. Clearly the referee can see that Dembele is clipped Di Maria. Di Maria, of course, does a nice job, I think, not necessarily dragging his left foot, but making sure that he's taking long strides and that he's going to look for any kind of touch. And Dembele takes him down inside the box there. So it's a clear penalty. First big play of the game here. I'll zoom in just so you can see the cleat literally getting hit by Dembele. And no doubt about it, the referee instantly signals to the spot. First big moment, Messi's going to step up and Messi's going to deliver. Now, one thing that I really like about Messi's goal here is that he has the nerve on the world's biggest stage. And remember, this isn't just the biggest football match. It's the biggest, not just the biggest sporting event, but this is the biggest event on the planet. So you've got close to 4 or 5 billion people watching this match out of 8 billion on the planet. And so what's one thing they always preach on penalty kicks is always to use the same routine. So that in big moments, your body doesn't let you down. Well, Messi is so good and has so much nerve that, or coolness, that he's able to actually have 2 routines. I'm not sure of another player on the planet that does this, but Messi normally runs up to the ball and hits it hard. In this case, he actually went up to the ball very slowly, like some players like to do, and waited for the keeper to make the first move. When you do this, Neymar's really good at it, but it just takes so much nerve because these players literally do not look at the ball and they are looking at the keeper. In this case, Messi sees Hugo Lloris go to the right and he just hits it softly Messi does to the right side of the goal. So Lloris went to his right, to our left. And so it's an easy goal, but it's really remarkable that Messi pulls this out of his repertoire, and Argentina's up 1-0. Usually the first goal is going to win, and we'll see what happens in this match. But we've got a lot of back and forth, frankly. But it certainly helped Argentina that they got off on the right foot here. And the next big play I want to highlight is again Argentina, and one of the best fast break goals of the tournament, if not the best. And part of the reason I like it so much is that it involves 5 or 6 first touch passes and a first touch shot on goal and goal. So the first arrow here, I wanted to highlight the person passing the ball here. He actually passed the ball, you can't see it in this image, on a volley, which takes a lot of nerve. This actually stemmed from France having a turnover near the 18-yard box. Normally, Argentina's defender, or any defender in a big match early on, would take it down on the ground, play a little bit safe. But he actually, the ball's coming to him in the air. He turns, sees his teammate open, and volleys it to him. And his teammate does something remarkable here by making a first-time pass to Messi, who's on the far right side of the screen there, with the outside of his left foot. So there's actually a French defender sort of between the ball and Messi. So it's not like Messi's wide open. So it's a pretty cheeky pass by Argentina, using the outside of the foot, kind of caught the defender off guard before he could stick his foot out. And the ball's going to come, as we'll see here in a second, to Messi. But just zooming in a little bit here, you can see there's just not a lot of pathway to get it to Messi. Now Messi's on the ball. Messi, with his peripheral vision, sees one of his teammates making a run down the right-hand side. This pass is pretty hard to Messi. He purposely volleys the ball up in the air. So this is technically the only two-touch pass in the entire fast break. But I'm still counting as one pass because the ball didn't touch the ground, and Messi knew what he was doing here. So we'll zoom in here. So what happens here is Messi actually volleys the ball up and then also makes a pass with the outside of his left foot. So very rare in any sequence to see 2 outside of the left foot passes, but he gets it to his teammate making a run down the right side. And his teammate does a nice job, as he should, of picking his head up while he's running towards the ball and seeing he's got a player wide open. He knows that if he doesn't get too tricky here and just gets it past this last French defender right near the ball, that his teammate's got acres of space. So again, sometimes it's great to make cheeky passes, but sometimes it's important just to make the simple pass, which is what Argentina's player does in this case. He gets it past the French defender, and now it's off to the races. But what I wanted to show you here is that this is literally the first touch that his teammate makes on the ball. So he did a nice job of leading him. This ball goes all the way almost to the 18-yard box. And a couple things to think about here that really makes this interesting. Number one, where's the keeper? So again, poking fun a little bit with Lloris, France's goalkeeper, who's known to make some mental mistakes in big games. He is not even in the picture where normally he should be. He's literally like camped out on his line. He hasn't even come out near the 6-yard line. Okay, of course you don't want to get chipped, but you got to see the play developing here and knowing that you can't see it in this screen, but you're going to see it in the next screen, that Di Maria is making yet another run wide open on the left side. And how do we know that? Because even the player passing the ball knows this. A lot of times we talk about how important it is for players at the highest level to get their head up, but it's not always necessary. In fact, sometimes it's more important to keep your head on the ball and make sure you just execute and know that your teammate is going to be where they need to be. At the highest level, I can't emphasize this enough. Oftentimes crosses in need just to be made, and it's up to your teammate or teammates to be where they should be. Now, I know Di Maria doesn't want to be offsides, and I already complimented him on the first goal for not being offsides. But when I zoom out on this next image, I'm going to question why he wasn't at least a little bit closer to his teammate. But nonetheless, all the Argentina guy on the ball knows he needs to do is get this to space. What's remarkable to me here too is you finally see Lloris, and he's literally only 1 or 2 yards off the line still. I'm going to contrast this to Argentina's keeper later in the match that makes a couple phenomenal plays that takes a much different approach and a better approach, frankly. Okay, I put this image in here because I wanted you to see that you can see the keeper and you still can't see Di Maria on the left side. So this ball is going to end up exactly sort of where the arrow is pointed. There's no way that Di Maria, who doesn't even have a lot of speed, should beat the keeper to this ball. Okay, even if the keeper was to hesitate, even if the keeper decided to stay close to the line until the ball was passed, although he should be creeping out here. So here is the moment of truth. That ball is a first-time touch by Di Maria. Di Maria has come from outside the 18-yard box all the way to the 6-yard line, while the keeper has only made it out like 4 yards, literally like 2 strides. And this isn't to pick on Lloris personally. It's just, big moments, big decisions, and they have big impacts. So what happened here was Lloris hesitated until the very last moment. And then he's like, well, you know what? At this point, I should come out and at least cut off the angle. He doesn't even make it to the 6-yard line. Di Maria has an open shot now. And let's zoom in here so you can get a better look of what Di Maria's angle is. And we're going to have a really good shot here in a second, but just wanted to show you that Di Maria simply chips the keeper here. Not really a chip, I'll touch on that in a second. He actually hits the ball into the ground to keep it low. How many times have we seen even the stars in big moments chip it over the crossbar or kick it over the crossbar because they hit too low on the ball? One of the things that's really interesting here is that there are only 2 players in the world that have specialized, that I'm aware of, at least in big moments, actually hitting the ball into the ground and then bouncing it purposely. So, and those are Di Maria from Argentina and Giroud, who is playing in this match for France up top. And Giroud actually had one of these similar type of goals earlier in the tournament in the World Cup. So, no, this isn't Di Maria just playing safe and trying to hit the ball on the ground, as I'll show you on the next image. He actually, and I proved it here because Di Maria has already made contact with the ball. Well, the first thing that normally happens upon contact is the ball is airborne, whether it's low or high, it's airborne. Here, the ball goes right back into the turf. And then Lloris has finally reached the 6-yard line there. And Lloris actually makes himself really big here, so this part's well done. But as I often say, this is a game of inches. This ball clears Lloris's leg by just an inch. And that's on the hop. So, to my earlier point, had Lloris come out sooner, even if he hadn't beat Di Maria to the ball, Di Maria wouldn't have been able to hit the ball into the ground and then have it bounce over Lloris, nor would he have really had time to chip Lloris. It would have been just, Lloris would have stuffed him, and then Di Maria would have had to decide whether to dribble around Lloris or maybe make another square pass. So game of inches here, but just remarkable that Di Maria bounces the ball over Lloris. And I'm going to compliment Lloris again here too, because it's very rare to ever see a keeper actually put 2 legs out on the same side. Lloris has made a smart decision here to say, hey, you're coming so fast, I'm going to force you to chip me, okay? Which, just so you know, it's super difficult to chip a keeper the faster you're going, because the faster you're going, and also the faster the ball's rolling, the harder it is for you to get underneath the ball delicately and chip it up in a short amount of space. So well done by Lloris here. He makes himself really big down low because it's really difficult for Di Maria to slot underneath Lloris's arms too. What Lloris wasn't planning on was for Di Maria to be super cheeky here and bounce the ball over him. So as we get a little bit better perspective here, you'll see that ball goes right over him, and we move on all the way to the 79th minute. Hate to skip through some of this, but for the sake of time, because there's so many great plays here to break down to show really the fine margin here and how Argentina won this match. But here we go with the 79th minute. France is in the box, and Argentina makes a really a bad mistake here. It's a penalty and it's really unforced. And you can see there that Argentina's defender is grabbing France's arm. Now, what's really cheeky about this, and again, the type of thing that you can only see on still images, is that the French player puts his right arm out. And you can see they're not really to push Argentina's player away, but frankly, to bait him into grabbing his arm. Notice the palm of his hand is open. It's not up against the Argentinian defender, pushing him away or grabbing his shirt where the referee can't see it. He's basically saying, come on, grab my arm, grab my arm. And Argentina, in the heat of the moment, the pressure was too big for this defender. The stage was too big. And, when you have a 2-0 lead with 10 minutes to go and you've got a phenomenal goalkeeper who has been coming out, you've got to give your keeper a chance. And this type of mistake is made far too often, even in the World Cup. And by the way, France has a terrible angle on this. He's coming, hard to tell him here, but he's coming from the outside. He's not coming straight up the gut. So he's going to have a really tight angle. We'll zoom in to show you how he baits him into grabbing his arm. One more shot here because Argentina's defender continues to hold his arm. And of course, the French player is going to make a meal out of it, but it's definitely enough. Again, doesn't even need to go to video replay. Mbappe steps up. Mbappe, it's a penalty kick into the left corner like he does so often. And frankly, Emilio, the goalkeeper for Argentina, got his hand on it, but it was hit with such pace that he couldn't stop it. I actually thought he would still. He had enough of his hand behind it. So that's what happens when you put tremendous pace on the ball like that. So well done by Mbappe, incredible pressure. And the score is now 2-1, and France is back on the attack in the 81st minute. So they only wait like a minute. They're just coming after Argentina as they have to. So, I think France had conserved some energy in the first half. Maybe their coach, Didier, wasn't thrilled with it, but I think that was part of the tactic, was at least initially not to run like crazy. And what I like about this play is, again, there's some subtlety going on here. There are two French players you can see that are frankly too close together. But you might think that the player that's closer to the French guy making the pass might go for this. But what I like about the French passer is he's going to Mbappe. Win or die with your superstars on both sides. He is knowing in his mind, I've got to get the ball to Mbappe, who ends up receiving this ball. So he bypasses his first teammate, and he actually hits it in the air too, which takes tremendous talent and skill at this stage of a game. Instead of doing the safer pass and putting it on the ground, he knows that he can get it to Mbappe quicker in the air. But also, I think he had a feeling that Mbappe could do something with it if he put it in the air. Now, most players, so many players, will head the ball poorly. They'll just put the ball back up in the air. But Mbappe is really cheeky here. He's just about to head this ball into the ground. And his teammate does a nice job of drifting away from Mbappe. So he doesn't get too close to him. He goes to the open space. Check this out. There are only two French players up top at this point. There are 8 Argentinian defenders and a goalkeeper. So it's essentially a 2-on-9. So France should never be able to score in this situation. And I'm going to show you how they do, because it takes a superstar like Mbappe to figure this out. And I know that he thought of this. He was like, you know what, I'm going to do a 1-2 with my teammate, but I'm going to do it a little bit unique. I'm going to head this ball into the ground so that he can volley it to me in the air. So let's zoom in a little bit here to show where on the turf he's going to put the ball. And now the ball's bouncing. Mbappe is fast, and this is a perfect example. He's quick too. Now the defender that was on him, that I've been complimenting Argentina for doing a nice job much of this match of staying between the ball and the goal, but here he makes a mistake. he didn't need to go bite for that. He could have let Mbappe head the ball, and he could have stayed back so that Mbappe couldn't get by him. But the second that Mbappe heads the ball, he also continues his run so that the defender can't block him even inadvertently. So really smart by Mbappe. And he's got some space now. Argentina's out of balance here. They've got all these defenders, but they're frankly mostly in the center. And so Mbappe's teammate does a wonderful job here of just looping the ball. Okay, he sees the one defender and very smartly says, rather than put the ball on the ground and maybe have it blocked, I'm going to volley it. Again, this takes remarkable skill. These are the best players in the world. And Mbappe does just the amazing volley here. Doesn't even let the ball hit the ground. And you can see he's willing to fall down to hit this correctly. And that's pretty much the angle you've got to be. Your leg's got to be close to parallel to the ground in order to keep this down. Because you can see how easy it would be to sky this ball over the crossbar. And you can see even the top players, so many of them, even this tournament, do that. They hit under the ball. Even here, doesn't it look like Mbappe's going to lift this ball maybe over the bar? His foot looks like it's going to hit the bottom half of the ball. And I know this seems kind of elementary, but there are so few strikers in the world that think the right thought. And that is, in this case, your brain has already decided what type of shot it's going to make and where. A lot of people don't realize that. And what Mbappe is thinking right now is frankly where on the ball to hit it. Or should be thinking, and I'm convinced that the very elite like Mbappe and Messi, that's one of the things they're doing because they so rarely have a terrible mishit like you see with so many of these players. So unfortunately, there's Argentina's defender that should have been on this side of Mbappe that got baited out. So in order for Mbappe to pull this off, he's literally going to fall to the ground. And by doing so on this next shot, you'll see he was able to keep the ball low, and it went right past the Argentinian goalkeeper into the corner of the net. Frankly, Emilio did a nice job of getting a finger on this ball too, but Mbappe hit it with such pace again. It'd been really difficult, if not impossible, for Argentina's keeper. By the way, I dislike and make fun of so many announcers that say the keeper had no chance. When we dive into plays like this, you can break it down and you can see oftentimes the keeper did have a chance like earlier, and they were either out of position or they didn't read the ball well enough, quick enough. But in this case, it would have been difficult to save this. But Mbappe lands on the ground just like he expected to because that was the best way to keep this ball down. And just zooming out a little bit, you get a little bit different perspective. There are no other defenders, even though Mbappe and his teammates started a 2-on-9. It was a cheeky move, and he just put on that incredible burst of power that he has, and Argentina didn't have time to get back and try to help out. So time to celebrate. We're 2-2 going to added time. And in added time, Argentina has a really interesting sequence here. This midfielder, you can see the midfield line here. So this is a really clever play by Argentina. He's got his head up, so he's picking out either Messi or Martinez, who's just come into the game. Now, that's the time to pick your head up. Those are the kind of times where you know the ball's like in the air. You know where the ball is going to be. And he actually doesn't hit it very well. So I purposely put the line here to let you know how high the ball went in the air. It was higher than intended. Let's put it that way. High enough to where the French defenders could have come in and won this ball. But I'm saying they actually did the right thing. When you're 2-2 in added time, stay goal side, right? That's the rule that so many defenders break anyways. Just stay between the ball and the goal. You're far enough from the 18-yard box that you're thinking Argentina can't do much harm. One thing that is interesting, though, is there's not a lot of French defenders back, which is a little bit shocking. There's been some criticism of Brazil on their loss that they didn't have enough defenders back when they had the lead late in the game against Croatia, and they gave up a counterattack. And so look at all the French players that are kind of behind this ball. They really shouldn't be. But still, it doesn't look too bad for France, right now. Ball's coming down, and it's actually going to Martinez. The other player nearest to Martinez is Messi. So, Messi loves to cut inside. And I think Martinez sees that happening. These guys have played so much together, too. That's really important. Argentina's had great continuity the past couple years, and why they've been on this long winning streak that, they lost it to Saudi Arabia. But bottom line is here, Martinez sees that Messi is not making a run down the line. Those are the two big decisions Messi has here, and Martinez is smart enough to figure out, okay, I tell you what, Messi's going to stay near me. I'm going to try to just lay this off for Messi. Hard to see the ball there, but it's coming down in a way that would be really hard to control. But what does Martinez do? He's able to take that ball down almost instantly. He smothers the ball with the outside of his right foot to where the ball is practically motionless on the ground. He sees Messi cutting towards the middle still, and all he does is he just taps it to Messi. Messi, as you'll see, is coming in here, he has a choice to make. Typically, you would expect Messi to, at this point, probably just try to dribble in past the last defender. But being unselfish, he sees his teammate to his left there, and he does a simple pass, again, simple passes when you can, to his teammate, because he sees his teammate actually has a pretty big lane between the two defenders. And I was actually a little bit surprised as we zoom in here that his teammate didn't take at least one dribble and perhaps go through the two defenders. But what he does, which is pretty clever himself, is by the time the ball comes to him, the two defenders have closed him down a little bit and narrowed the gap. But he's been able to pull that last defender towards himself a little bit to the 18-yard line. So he's right on the line. And he sees that Martinez now is making a run. So we talked earlier about looking at your teammates to see whether they're making a run down the line, for example, a vertical run or a lateral run. In this case, he does the smart thing by making not just a simple pass, but turning his body, turning his hips so he doesn't accidentally pass it into the defender, and he gets it past that defender. So Martinez now has an open lane to goal. So he's now, one touch and he's at the 6-yard line. Now, it's not a great angle. I have coined the term quality zone to represent the zone that comes from the 6-yard box out to the 18-yard box. That's really where you want to take every shot from. You don't want to take it from the side of the 6-yard box where Martinez is, although he's only like a yard or two. Now, he's got the best player in the world just to his left, so he's got Messi right there. And I'm sure he sees him because they were kind of working together in this whole sequence. And he sees Messi's even open, but I think he makes the right choice here on taking a shot on goal for a couple reasons. One is he sees that defender is actually between Messi and the goal. And he also knows that if I hit this pretty hard, I'm so close to Lloris, the goalkeeper now, there's no way he's going to catch it. He's going to parry it, and he might parry it to Messi, although he shouldn't. So he's going to take a hard shot on goal here, a little bit towards the far post, because you want, if the keeper does bat it away, you want the keeper to have to bat it away into the center of the field here or up high and not across the end line, because you want that ball to come back to Messi or your other teammate. You've got numbers right now. You've got a 3-on-2, which again, France should have never let happen. So here comes the shot on goal, and Lloris does a nice job at least getting his paws on it. But I mean, come on, there's Messi. Now, a couple things here. Lloris, even though that's a hard shot and it's only 10 yards away, he's got to either palm it up in the air to where his defense can get underneath it, or he's got to get it over the bar even, or he's got to get it over the end line. But you can't just parry it right back to the center there where Messi is standing. And, this other defender, notice, has run past the goal line. Most of you know that a goal has to be the full ball going over the full line. Unlike some other sports, it can't just be halfway across the line. So I can see the defender's momentum. He's trying to help his keeper on that shot on goal, the prior shot on goal. maybe takes him to the end line, but you got to stop there. Even if you slide and get back up quickly, you can't run into the goal, because you'll see on this next image, he actually goes further. He lets his momentum go further into the net, and he's at the back of the net, so he can't really stop Messi's shot on the line. Messi does the right thing here. Again, why the best players in the world, I say this often, are able to use both feet effectively under the highest amount of pressure, which some of the top flight players are not. So, maybe if it was somebody else that had a stronger left foot, they would have let this cross over, and it might have given the defender time to block it, or Lloris to get back up and get a hand on it. But Messi is smart enough to use his right foot and push this over the line. And Argentina is in great shape for the rebound here still. So France's defense let them down here, their keeper, and the whole defense did. The ball clearly crosses the line there. You can see it. Not every single image that we use, of course, is crystal clear because we're going off a high speed, motion, but still breaking it down, you see things that you're never going to see even in slow motion. And you can see how far back the defender is here, almost to the back of the net. So it was too little too late there. Congratulations to Messi. We'll zoom in here so you get a little bit better feel, but Messi has just put Argentina on top 3-2. You think there's only 5 minutes to go in added time, and you think it's the storybook ending. Messi's finally going to win his first World Cup. Argentina's going to walk away 3-2 winners. But on the other side, it's like a heavyweight boxing match. Messi, Mbappe, the whole match, and Mbappe comes right back with 5 minutes to go. And he does the right thing here. He cuts inside from left to right like he likes to do to get it on his stronger right foot. And he's going to go far post here. And he's not intimidated by 4 defenders. Again, Argentina is doing a good job at least getting numbers of defenders back, unlike France on Argentina's last goal. But you've got a great keeper in shape here. And there's no need to do anything that's not smart, i.e. a handball. Especially if you're the closest defender here and there's 2 or 3 other defenders behind you. Mbappe does the right thing by hitting it hard, and hopefully he's going to try to thread the needle here between these 4 defenders. He is going far post here, and he hits it well. And by the way, it's on target. So, sometimes people will complain, well, it's a handball, they would have never scored. Well, Mbappe might have scored this. He's so clutch. And here you can see it hits the Argentinian's hand again. So many of these plays didn't even go to video replay in this big match. They didn't need to. Right in front of the referee, no argument there. And you could see it was on target. It would be hard to tell whether it's going to go over the bar, but I could tell that it was probably not going to. And so you zoom in to get a little bit better view. Mbappe is going to get his second penalty kick, and he does the same thing. No need to mess with success. He goes left corner again. Emilio guesses the other way this time, thinking he's going to go the other way, but Mbappe's so clutch. So think about that. 2 penalty kicks within the last, 30 minutes of the game. Just so much clutch effort by both of the superstars in particular in this game. Now we're 3-3 with just a few minutes to go. Now you're thinking, okay, penalties. It's got to go to penalties. And no, it doesn't, because France gets one more fast break here, right here. I drew this arrow purposely. I don't often do this, but like I did earlier, to show you this ball is actually coming down. This should never have happened with Argentina's defense, just like Argentina's last goal shouldn't have happened with France's defense. They actually did a long ball here, and they chipped it over Argentina's back line. Now, notice the difference in positioning and approach by Argentina's keeper, and this is possibly what helped save the cup for them. Emilio comes out. He's already in front of the 6-yard line there. And this is even knowing that the ball's coming down, and this guy has a pretty decent chance of volleying the ball over his head. So this is not one where he's like, oh, there's no way he can chip me. This is one where he's like, you know what? I've got to come out to cut off the angle. So the France player here has to make a decision. Do I dribble around him? Do I try to chip it? Or do I go hard, low? I can't fault him. let's get a better view, first of all, of what he's looking at here on the fast break. He's clearly, it's an open shot. He's going to go low. So he chooses not to dribble around or chip. He's going to go low, and he's going to go hard low. So what's remarkable to me is that Emilio is able to get his foot down in time. And how do I know that he hit it hard? With the follow through. We can see that his follow through showed that he just nailed that ball. So for Emilio to get his leg down that quickly is just remarkable. A game of inches, like I often say, and he just stuffs it. And by the way, that was on target. It was going lower right corners, what I call a quality shot into the corners from, it's also a quality chance, which again is what I described just a moment ago. It's in front of essentially the 6-yard box and within the 18-yard box. It's just the prime place to score. So hats off to Argentina's keeper. And now we're finally going to go to penalties. France almost pulled that out. And Mbappe steps up first, to his credit, as he should, for France. And France got to go first, which frankly, the team going first wins penalty kickoffs about 56% of the time. So there's an advantage to go first. And that, I believe, is primarily because you make about 80% of your penalties. So if you're going first, you're typically putting more pressure on the team that's going second. However, in this World Cup, the team that's gone second has won more penalty kickoffs, or shootouts. So pretty interesting plot line going on here. Messi steps up first for Argentina, as he should. And what does he do? What do you think? Is he going to do his normal routine where he just runs up to the ball and hits it hard? Or is he going to do the stutter routine where he doesn't even look at the ball? Again, everyone in the world's got to be thinking you got to go with your main routine. But Messi mixes it up again, goes with the stutter, doesn't even look at the ball. And on top of that, goes to the left side. But what's interesting here is Lloris got fooled, but because when you do the stutter kick, like Neymar does such a good job of doing, you can't hit the ball very hard. You can't put a lot of force behind it. So Lloris actually hesitates for a second and then almost redirects and saves this. So very nervy, but Messi comes through in the clutch, as Mbappe has the whole game. I mean, think about how they scored throughout this match with this tremendous amount of pressure. Then Argentina's keeper makes a couple saves, so they have the advantage, and Argentina steps up. This one looks like Lloris from France might make the save. He gets a finger on it, but it was hit too hard, so this gets by, and now Argentina is one shot away from taking home the cup, and this is how they did it. He went left, Lloris went to the right, and Argentina are World Cup champions for the first time since 1986. Messi gets the monkey off his back. What a match, though. I mean, just phenomenal. And, I really can't second guess the coaching too much here. As I said, Scaloni made a couple really critical decisions starting out to start Di Maria. That really paid off. Di Maria looked a little bit like Messi today with all the ball dribbling moves that he had. It was really phenomenal. I thought Didier did a nice job, France's coach, of making a couple early changes. Kind of shocking. He took Giroud off early, as well as Dembele. So he takes off 2 of his 3 forwards. But he knew, why even wait till halftime? And so many coaches wait too long to make big moves. They don't have the nerve to do it. Deschamps has the experience. He's won the last World Cup. And it helped. In the second half, France played a lot better. My big concern was Scaloni waiting so long to make a couple of his substitutes, because they came out so hard in the first half. They got tired legs in the second half. And he did make one cheeky move right near the end. He put Dybala on, who is a great penalty taker. 2 minutes before penalty shots, he puts him on, and Dybala made the second penalty kick. Now, I wasn't going to show all the kicks there, but just the crucial ones. So a phenomenal final. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And I hope you enjoyed some of these insights too, breaking this down so you can really see some of the subtleties of the game that you can't see otherwise. And if you did, please, as usual, subscribe, like, and share. Share this with your friends, your club teams, what have you, your youth teams. and make some comments if you have any. Always like to see those. And thank you again for watching. We appreciate it.